The Honorable Order of Universal Co-Masonry presents Masonic Articles and Essays. The Sacred Tetractus by Illustrious Brother Pamela McDown, 30th degree. Date published, August 3, 2018. The Tetractus refers to a sacred symbol of the Pythagoreans, consisting of 4 rows of dots containing 1, 2, 3, and 4 dots respectively, which form an equilateral triangle. If Pythagoras found himself transported to the modern world, he would have much to learn about technology, science, and human thought. But is there something Pythagoras can still teach us today in his symbol of the Tetractus? What do the dots reveal? How is it significant to Freemasonry? To start with, Tetractus refers to a symbol of the Pythagoreans, which consists of 4 rows of dots containing 1, 2, 3, and 4 dots respectively, which form an equilateral triangle. Many have found the Tetractus full of sublime meaning. When did the Tetractus first come about? To answer this question may be more difficult. Very little is known about the real Pythagoras, or rather, too much is known about him, but most of it is surely mistaken. The biographical trail is scattered with contradictions. It combines the sublime, the absurd, the inconceivable, and the just plain weird. The teachings are elusive because he never wrote anything down. His treatises are only known to us through other Greek researchers. Consequently, it is up to present-day scholars, and there are many, to sift through these works in order to find a common thread that can be genuinely ascribed to Pythagoras. We do know that Pythagoras was born in Samos in the 6th century BCE. Pythagoras was both a mystic and a scientist, although some scholars tend to praise his mathematical prowess while looking away with embarrassment at his perceived mysticism. For Pythagoreans, they were one and the same. The science of number was the cornerstone of the Pythagoreans. It describes, if not yet everything, at least something very important about physical reality, namely, the sizes and shapes of the objects that inhabit it. The Pythagoreans influenced the world by the simple expression, quote, "All is number," unquote. Pythagoras. What did Pythagoras mean by the famous motto, "All is number"? Is it possible to listen to this message today afresh, with Pythagorean ears? What teaching does the Tetractus offer a Freemason? The Tetractus, a Masonic lecture by William Preston, 1772. Freemasons in earlier times thought highly of Pythagorean philosophy. Brother Manly Palmer Hall, a 33rd degree Mason, dedicated an entire chapter in his work, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, to both mystical and philosophical qualities of Pythagorean numbers. Hall wrote, quote, "The 10 dots, or Tetractus of Pythagoras, was a symbol of the greatest importance, for to the discerning mind it revealed the mystery of universal nature," unquote. Hall states that if one examines the Tetractus symbolically, a wealth of otherwise hidden wisdom begins to reveal itself. The Prestonian Lectures, 1772, give us further insight into some of the possible Masonic thinking on the Tetractus in the 1800s. It was the subject in one of the series of lectures written by Brother William Preston for instruction and education of the lodge members. An excerpt of the lecture, 1772, goes as follows, quote, "The Pythagorean philosophers and their ancestors considered a Tetractus, or number 4, first, as containing the decad, second, as completing an entire and perfect triangle, third, as comprising the 4 great principles of arithmetic and geometry, fourth, as representing in its several points the 4 elements of air, fire, water, and earth, and collectively the whole system of the universe. Lastly, as separately typifying the 4 external principles of existence, generation, emanation, creation, and preservation, thence collectively denoting the great architect of the universe. Wherefore to swear by the Tetractus was their most sacred and inviolate oath," unquote. In other words, it is taught to Freemasons that a 4-fold pattern permeates the natural world, examples of which are the point, line, surface, and solid, and the 4 elements, earth, water, air, and fire. Musically, they represent the perfect consonants, the unison, the octave, the fifth, and the fourth. The divine creator in Freemasonry is sometimes referred to as the great architect or grand geometrician, always building the universe through the creative tools of the geometer. Tetractus itself can be interpreted as a divine blueprint of creation. Some say that Pythagoras and his successors had two ways of teaching, one for the profane and one for the initiated. The first was clear and unveiled, the second was symbolic and enigmatic. In order to achieve mastery of this universe, a person had to discover the veiled meaning of numbers hidden in all things. I have often wondered if we could hypothetically peer into the mind of the grand geometrician and the veil was lifted, what design would we see? The grand design. Perhaps we would see how the master builder has ordered all things by measure and number and weight. Throughout the structure of the universe, the properties of numbers are manifested. Geometry is fundamental to the work of the Masonic builders. It is engaged with the first configurations of the plan upon which the form is erected and the idea materialized. Examining numbers symbolically, they represent more than quantities. They also have qualities. Brother H. P. Blavatsky in The Secret Doctrine tells us that the numbers are entities. They are mysterious. They are essential to all forms. They are to be found in the realm of essential consciousness. They are clues to our evolution. Blavatsky emphasizes that the study of numbers is not only a way of understanding nature, but it is also a means of turning the mind away from the physical world, which Pythagoras held to be transitory and unreal, leading to the contemplation of the real. Personally, I find that the Masonic teachings, in all their many symbolic forms, a good way to study numbers. The reason I continually come back to Pythagorean philosophy is the tradition of music theory. In music, the divine patterns of the grand geometrician are expressed in musical ratios. Harmony through sound, therefore, can be applied to all phenomena of nature, even going so far as to demonstrate the harmonic relationship of the planets, constellations, elements, and everything, really. The reason being that all life vibrates like the string. Why do Freemasons connect the dots? Like many symbols, the Tetractus can lead a craftsman down a rabbit hole of self-discovery. By rabbit hole, I mean a portal into a mysterious and infinite wonderland of formulas filled with beauty, confusion, and intrigue, a place to encounter all sorts of adventures with concepts beyond our wildest dreams that keep us coming back for more. Quote, "The more deeply we study the processes of nature, the greater in every direction becomes our admiration for the wonderful work of Him who made it all." Unquote. C.W. Leadbeater. This recording is brought to you by Universal Co-Masonry. Visit universalfreemasonry.org for more information.